Hello, my name is Renee Price and I am the director of Neue Galerie New York, a museum dedicated to the fine and decorative arts of Austria and Germany from the early 20th century. Today it is my pleasure to introduce the Abbazia Collection, a series of summer accessories from our design shop, which offer an enchanting window into the world of the Austrian Riviera along the Adriatic coast. The jewel in this crown was the luxurious seaside resort known as Abbazia, and its namesake collection includes our new hand-woven sun hat and tote, carriage umbrella, Freud sunshades, fans, knotted cord Passementerie bracelets and keyring, travel watercolor set with Moser creative suite, and even more items in store. In its heyday, from around 1890 to 1914, Abbazia was known as the Pearl of the Austrian Riviera, famed for its temperate climate, salt waters, breathtaking rocky coastline, grand hotels, fine dining, and of course, its fabulous clientele. In the late 19th century, Abbazia and the neighboring coastal towns were part of the southern territory belonging to the Austro-Hungarian Empire. After World War I, the town was reassigned to Italy and later became part of Yugoslavia. Today, Abbazia is called Opatija and is one of many Croatian seaside towns experiencing a renaissance as international tourists flock to destinations off the beaten path. Over a century ago, Abbazia held title as the most exclusive summer destination in the Austro-Hungarian Empire. In a short period of time, Abbazia became a place to rub shoulders with members of the imperial family. Likewise, it attracted celebrities, diplomats, wealthy businessmen, as well as artists and writers from all over the world. Just how illustrious were Abbazia's clientele? Austrian Emperor Franz Joseph I summered there frequently with his beautiful wife Sissi, as did the German Kaiser Wilhelm II. At the turn of the century, Abbazia also welcomed prominent figures such as Viennese composer Gustav Mahler, Russian novelist Anton Chekhov, Irish author James Joyce, and American dancer Isadora Duncan, who purportedly was inspired by the gentle sway of the local palm trees. At this time, realistically, only the upper classes could spend the entire summer enjoying die Sommerfrische, or summer holidays. Travel by train or steamship, extended stays in the Grand Hotel, and all the associated expenses were far too costly for the average working European to afford. Those of means, however, were able to escape the congestion, heat, and stresses of modern urban life. They found respite in luxurious resorts, typically complemented by lushly manicured parks and wide promenades. However, Abbazia was not always an exclusive seaside resort. The town originally thrived as a small fishing village, one among a handful of southern coastal towns including Grado, Ragusa, Spalato, and Trieste. As modern advances reshaped leisure culture, Abbazia rose to prominence from its obscure beginnings. The first milestone was in 1884 with the creation of the Südbahn, or Southern Railway, the first line to connect Vienna and Abbazia. This became one of many links in an expanding railway network which soon covered the region. Abbazia came into full bloom under the patronage of Friedrich Schuler, the director of the Südbahngesellschaft, or Southern Railway Company, responsible for purchasing a large tract of undeveloped land near the St. Jacob's Abbey. In addition, he constructed the first grand hotels. Despite advances in modern transportation, traveling to this coastal colony was still not for the faint of heart. Train rides in one of the Südbahn's plush club cars to Fiume or Trieste, although luxurious, could take 12 hours or longer. Journey by sea could be equally costly and time-consuming. Nonetheless, it was possible to visit remote islands in the region via a Küstendampfer, or coastal steamship, operated by the Österreichische Lloyd, the largest steamship company in the world at that time, with a fleet of 65 ships and a staff of over 6,000. The second major trend during the late 19th century was the rise of health tourism. This new and lucrative industry was validated by three factors: the diagnoses of physicians, publicity generated by the rise of tourism advertising, and the support of an increasingly well-funded infrastructure of local hotel spas, medical clinics, and health sanatoriums. Dr. Julius Glacks, a prominent Viennese physician and director of Vienna's Cure Commission, was a key figure in the evolution of the concept of the Seehospiz and Naturheilung. These terms were used to describe the healing powers of fresh air, the high salt saturation of the Adriatic Ocean's warm waters, and immersion in the natural environment of the region. Perhaps as majestic as Abbazia's natural landscape were the legendary Grand Hotels, new and dazzling palaces of recreation and entertainment. These hotels were designed to meet both the extravagant tastes of Central Europe's wealthiest families and the latest international standards in luxury accommodations. Hotels and sumptuous private residences sprang up quickly along the coast, financed by the railway companies and by members of the Habsburg monarchy seeking solitude and privacy. Hotels and villas were typically designed in a neoclassical style, characterized by spare geometry and grand symmetrical facades. Painted in warm exterior tones, these hotels were enhanced with spacious private balconies, rooftop terraces, pergolas, and embellished with elaborate neo-Baroque surface ornament. Indoors, guests enjoyed full-service meals in sprawling dining rooms, access to indoor pools, central heating, cinema halls, and spa therapy in the privacy of the hotel's discreet clinics. On the ground floor of these grand hotels, large terraces were peppered with café tables and standing umbrellas and spilled out onto the wide gravelly promenade. Abbazia's first resort was Hotel Quarnero, now the Grand Hotel Quarner, designed in 1884 by Viennese architect Franz Wilhelm. The hotel's opulent crystal hall catered to men and women who waltzed until daybreak. Long hours dancing to popular music by Austrian composers such as Johann Strauss and Elkan Bauer were buoyed by champagne and stunning coastal moonlit views. Other grand hotels were quickly constructed along the seaside, including the Hotel Imperial, Hotel Bellevue, and the Hotel Palace, which would host heir to the throne Franz Ferdinand and other members of the royal family. The Adria Club was a members-only institution famous for its well-heeled clientele. Limited to the upper echelons of society, the club's wealthy members mixed business and pleasure amongst peers of equal social standing and did so in the most intimate of environments. Although Abbazia's atmosphere was more relaxed than the formality of Vienna, patrons of the resort made no compromises when it came to fashion. Despite the daytime heat, women wore full-length dresses, wide-brimmed hats, long gloves, and carried delicate parasols to protect their fair complexions from the sun. At the beach and under the shade of striped tents, women wore stylish kaftans and large hats, both in and out of the water. In the early 20th century, the use of protective sunglasses was becoming more widespread. Our Sigmund Freud sunshades would have been quite chic in Abbazia. Let us not forget that this famous psychoanalyst once urged his clients to take their cure in the waters of Abbazia. I absolutely adore these vintage bathing costumes from the period. Damenbadeanzug for women and Herrenbadeanzug for men. I think it's safe to say that these charming swimsuits are slightly more conservative than those we are accustomed to today. Water sports would play a key role in the development of tourism and culture in Abbazia. In 1887, Heinrich von Littrow established the Union Yacht Club Quarnero, the first sailing club on the Adriatic. In 1889, the Austrian government declared Abbazia the first seaside resort on the Adriatic. Abbazia's illustrious reputation at the turn of the century is also due in part to the artistic pilgrimages of leading modern artists such as Rudolf von Alt, Albin Egger-Lienz, Eugen Jettel, the young Egon Schiele, and Emil Jakob Schindler. Artists hailing from urban environments were eager to capture the light and color of this exotic locale. They were also attracted to the unending parade of social and commercial activity along the coast. 18-year-old Egon Schiele escaped with his sister to Trieste. There he painted vivid scenes of harbor life. Around 1900, posters became an influential and inexpensive mode of visual representation. Artists were soon enlisted to develop marketing materials for hotels, transportation companies, and illustrated tour guides. The idyllic scenery along the Austrian Riviera also served as a great source of inspiration for designers. A number of stunning textile patterns are based upon the bright colors and botany observed along the Dalmatian coast. I love this silk called Brioni, designed by Klara Poznanski in 1925 and named after the islands in Croatia. Similarly evocative are patterns by Wiener Werkstätte designers Ugo Zovetti and Max Schnieschek. In 1913, an exhibition was organized in Vienna featuring photographs, paintings, and watercolors of the Austrian Riviera. It fixed the lure of Abbazia and neighboring seaside towns firmly in the imagination of the general public and those Austrians fortunate enough to travel there. Sadly, Abbazia's prominence was short-lived. Following World War I, a large portion of the Austro-Hungarian southern coastline, including Abbazia, was surrendered to Italy. Although many of the historic structures remain, society was changed forever by the conflict, and the monarchy itself was dismantled. It is my hope that you have learned something new and that the rich cultural history of Abbazia will bring a fresh perspective to your next experience at Neue Galerie New York. Should you ever need a wide-brimmed hat, a pair of sunshades, or a watercolor set for your next journey, I hope you will pay a visit to the design shop before your departure. Auf Wiedersehen.